All right, Cowboys Nation, welcome back to another season prediction video. This is my fourth season doing this type of video, and I'm excited for the new season. Whether or not, despite how you feel about what the Dallas Cowboys have done this offseason, you can't help but get a little bit excited just to know that our team is about to play. It's just right around the corner, and the season has dropped, and nothing. Look, like I said, it doesn't matter where this team is. We're here. We're Cowboys fans for life. We love this team, win or lose. It's always exciting just to see where the schedule is, who we're playing, and all of that. But be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe for more Cowboys content. I'm going to be here all off season and this regular season here. And if you want, go ahead and check out my other season prediction videos that I've done for the past 3 years. Sit back, relax. This one's going to be a long video because we're going to be going through every single game for this upcoming season. Schedule just dropped about 2-3 hours ago, and there were a couple of leaks leading up, and I saw them. And but now today, right now, we have the official schedule, and let's go ahead and jump right into it. You know, let's not wait around, and let's get into how I feel about this team. And if you're new, guys, I'm unbiased. I'm realistic. I'm going to give it to you the way it is. I'm not going to be one of ththose fans that's going to tell you 17-0, 16-1, nothing like that. We're going to look at this unbiased, realistically. I'm going to give you my opinions. I'm a little bit quiet on the offseason about what I think about this defense, the draft, all that, the offense, Dak, his contract, Jerry, Steven. I'm going to spill a little bit here in this video. Hopefully no rants, but we'll see. Oh yeah, Zeke back, just so many things going on. And let's jump into it, right? We knew this a few days ago. Week 1, Dallas Cowboys will be traveling to Cleveland to take on the Browns for the opener of the season. A lot of things go along with this, right? Tom Brady's first, his broadcast debut. This is the first time that Amari Cooper and the Dallas Cowboys will be facing off since the trade, since the Dallas Cowboys sent Amari Cooper away for a bag of chips. Still frustrated about it. Still angry about it. Should have never happened. It was the first time that Jerry made an emotional decision in terms of business. And if you ask me, you could still feel the ripple effects of that trade. But regardless, I think the real win here is the Cowboys not playing the flipping Giants again to open the season. I swear, man, if the Giants had shown up on this week 1 schedule again, I was going to flip a table. But I'm glad it's someone different. That's all I can ask for. Now, let me tell you something, Trip. A lot of people look at this team, and if you're not tuned in like we are as content creators, you're going to look at this Cowboys team like, oh, we got Dak, we got CeeDee, we got Micah. This is a 12-win season. Yeah, I don't know about that. There's a lot of young talent, and I'm going to tell you straight up, and I'm probably going to touch on it towards the end of the video. I think this Dallas Cowboys team, goes as far as this young talent can elevate its play. I'm talking about DeMarvion Overshown. I'm talking about this draft class. I'm talking about wide receiver 3. Is it Jalen Tolbert, Kevontae Turpin? Obviously, other names in there. Our safeties, our cornerbacks. Trayvon Diggs is coming back. This team is young, and ultimately, it depends on how much they elevate their play. Because we're really dependent on the Cowboys. We're very slow, methodical, quiet in the offseason in terms of free agency. Mozzie Smith, is he going to make that leap? Is he going to make that jump that we need him to? Regardless, what I'm trying to say is I think at the beginning of this season, and you may be mad here with all of my picks leading up to the bye week, which is week 7, I do believe the Dallas Cowboys are going to have a rough start to the season just because they're going to be figuring things out. Offensive line-wise, you have a lot of talented guys. Tyler Guyton, first-round draft pick. Cooper Bebe. Terrence Steele has to get back into his rhythm of things after the injury that he sustained a couple of years ago. Didn't have the best year last year. Zach Martin towards the end of his career. Tyler Smith, really just the only standout on that offensive line unanimously. I do think it's going to take a little bit for this team to catch its mojo, catch its rhythm, and I don't think we're going to see that pre-bye week. I think we're going to see glimpses of it, especially this defense. Zimmer on a 1-year deal, right? How does that impact? Is he a plug-and-play type of coordinator? Is this type of personnel to just inherit a philosophy that was totally created by Dan Quinn the past couple of years. I think it's going to take a lot of adjusting to just not training camp, mini camp, preseason. It's going to take a lot. Regardless, I say that to preface this whole video, but I think this week 1 is a loss. I think it's a loss on the road. I think we drop a game to the Cleveland Browns. And more or less, I think it's just a lot for our young talent in that first week. Talk about welcome to the NFL moment with Tyler Guyton taking on Myles Garrett. This defense for the Cleveland Browns is no joke. I'm not going to go out there and say it's one of the best, it's the best, or anything like that. It's going to present a challenge to an offense that is still trying to figure things out. So this has glimpses of like 2014 San Francisco 49ers, Dallas Cowboys season opener, where just stuff hits the fan. If this game goes ugly, don't worry about it. If this game is close, if we win, just regardless, it's a long season. I say this every stinking video. It's such a long season. What you see in week 1 is nowhere near what you see in week 17, week 18. And obviously, a lot of what I'm saying is pending on injuries, right? Injuries is a big part of the game, and this is me just thinking everyone is healthy. Regardless, week 1, I do believe we drop a game. Let's move on to week 2. We take on the New Orleans Saints. This is the Dallas Cowboys home opener at AT&T Stadium. Really weird. Not a primetime home opener, not a nationally televised home opener. No, it's a noon game. Taking on the New Orleans Saints at AT&T Stadium. Really a little bit of a head scratcher, especially for a home opener, but that's okay. I'm looking at this schedule, and I'm seeing the Dallas Cowboys sort of fly under the radar. The spotlight not be so much on them. Even though they have 6 primetime games, I know. But I feel like this could be a year where them being out of the spotlight and not a lot of people expecting much could actually work to their advantage. And that actually goes into my season prediction for this video. So I do believe we bounce back. I believe we get a win, home opener. We beat the Saints. Now, the Saints are no joke. I think they have a stout defense. I think they have still a lot of questions with their offense. Regardless, Cowboys are still a good team. Like, they obviously still have talent. They have Trayvon Diggs, DeRon Bland, Micah Parsons, Dak Prescott, and CeeDee Lamb. Just a lot of talent. Those cornerstones are there. So the Cowboys are going to win games. At least they should win games this coming regular season. And this one's going to be the first one. I like this one. So 1-1 to start the season. And then we stay at home for... you talk about getting thrown to the wolves right out of the gate to start the season. This is it. Week 3, Baltimore Ravens. Ravens obviously have Lamar Jackson. They don't have Patrick Queen. That's a big part of it. Obviously signed elsewhere in free agency. Lamar Jackson, right? 1 MVP, most valuable player in the National Football League. If you ask me, Dak Prescott had the better stats, had the better season, didn't have the better team record. Dak Prescott should have been the most valuable player in the National Football League. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. I'm telling you, unbiased and realistically. So, this is going to be an interesting game. And I think a lot of people probably have in their minds, like the Ravens of last year, having Patrick Queen, because that defense was insane. Now, that defense is still pretty good. And I think it's really, the Cowboys got a huge test here. And you know what? This team needs to address the trenches. This is where the game of football begins. And I think they did that on the offensive side, obviously drafting offensive linemen earlier in the draft. Defensive side, got a lot of bit of work. I know we have Osa Odighizuwa, and we have Sam Williams, Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Mozzie Smith. But, still need those guys to step up and play a tremendous game, tremendous season, all that. This one's a tough one. This one really is a tough one. Unbiased and realistically, I don't see the Cowboys beating the Baltimore Ravens this early in the season. I think the Ravens are better coached. I feel like they have an offense that is more symmetrical with their quarterback, and they got a complementary defense. The Ravens I don't believe they're going to be as dominant as they were last year, but I do believe they're better than the Cowboys in week 3. So there we go. 1-2. Week 3, now we're going into week 4. Now, early in the season, the Cowboys do play Thursday night. We get our Prime Video football matchup, which, by the way, I think Prime has the best video coverage. I just want to throw that out there. I think they have the best video coverage. I love the quality. I love all of it. Things I can't stand are the commentators, Kirk Herbstreit and Al Michaels. Here's my thing. Here's one of my takes, right? Greg Olsen salary has dropped $7 million because Tom Brady has to be number one. I get it. Now Greg Olsen has to go to the number 2 crew. Take Greg Olsen out of Fox and bring him over to Prime to go with Al Michaels. I think that's a really good duo, and Greg Olsen gets paid. Regardless, back to this game. Look, I'll say a couple of things about the NFC East, and obviously I'll talk about it as we reach those teams throughout the season, throughout this prediction video. I'm not expecting a lot from the NFC East. I'm really not. I'm expecting like NFC South vibes from the NFC East. I just don't think any of these teams are going to be as good as they used to be, talking about the Eagles and the Giants, or talking about the Eagles and the Cowboys. I think the Commanders are going to be better than they were last year. I think the Giants are just going to be the Giants. So in saying that, I'm going to tell you straight up, I think we sweep the Giants. Both times, and spoiler alert, the Cowboys and Giants play on Thanksgiving. I think that's an easy win right there, and I do believe this is an easy win Thursday night, primetime slot against the New York Giants in New York. Cowboys will win this one to bring them back to 500. They're at 2-2 going into week 5. All right, baby. Okay, 2 weeks away from the bye week, and this is where things get a little bit sticky. And be sure to comment down below as we're going week by week here. Let me know what you think about these games. This one is an interesting one. This is the first one where I'm like, okay, I could honestly see this going both ways. Now, let me tell you something straight up. The Dallas Cowboys are a better team than the Pittsburgh Steelers, but there are factors outside of talent that obviously play into the game of football. We're talking about the Cowboys going on the road. We're talking about the Cowboys playing an AFC North team, and the Cowboys are playing the entire AFC North this season. And the AFC North, they're tough, man. Like, they are physical, and it's really going to put the Cowboys to the test. And you guys know me. I don't believe the Cowboys are physical at all. I believe they are ridiculously finesse. Anyways, this is one of those games, and I hate these games. Should the Cowboys win? Yes. Are the Cowboys better? Yes. All of the above, anything that you can think of, better running back room, better defense, blah, 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 blah. But this screams trap game. This screams losing a game that you probably shouldn't. And this is a game that we're probably going to look back at. It's not going to be as bad as that dang Arizona Cardinals game last year. But we're probably going to be looking back the whole season wondering, why did we lose to the Steelers? Now, the Steelers, correct me if I'm wrong, they won 10 games last season, so there's nothing bad about them. But I could see this game being good, but I could see the Cowboys losing to the Steelers on Sunday Night Football in Pittsburgh. I hate it. I don't want to say it, but I could see it. And you know me, the Cowboys, you can't trust them as far as you can throw them. And you know what? Off-season wise, the front office didn't do anything to move the needle. And, I like this schedule. You look at this schedule, I like it. I really like the way it paces out. I love how we're getting these road games out of the way to start the season. If only this front office made moves to at least make this team a little bit better in free agency and not just rely on the draft, I would be approaching this season differently. I would be like, I like our chances against the Browns. I like our chances against the Ravens. I like our chances closing out a game in Pittsburgh on the road. I just can't say that because I feel like the Cowboys regress in terms of talent and roster, and their coaching staff doesn't have the best vote of confidence right now from Jerry Jones saying, Mike, you got to win or you're out, so we're not extending you, and we're going to bring you a shape-shift, hopefully good defensive coordinator that can make something of a good season in Mike Zimmer. So anyways, week 5, I think we lose. We drop down to 2-3. One game left before the bye week. Week 6, Detroit Lions come into town. And we played them the past couple of years, right? We beat them 2 years ago. That was really before the Lions took off and they had that strong end to the season. Then you had the Lions last year, who were just wickedly talented, obviously made it to the NFC Championship game, probably should have went to the Super Bowl, But Dan Campbell just can't help himself. But hey, man, that type of mindset is what got them there in the first place. Regardless, you can check out my post-game reaction for that Cowboys and Lions game last year on Monday night. Or I think it was Saturday night and whatever. The Cowboys did so much in that second half, especially that fourth quarter, to lose that game. And obviously it was a dramatic finish. I do believe the Lions pick up right where they left off. It would be hard to see the Lions not capitalizing on their success last year. I don't know if they're going to shoot off and be the best team in the NFC. We'll wait and see, but I do believe them to be physical, talented. They got a great wide receiver core. They got a solid quarterback in Goff. They have a great running attack. Defensively, they're physical. They play press. They rush. They're trouble to deal with. And with them taking a step forward and having that vote of confidence from their front office, and the Cowboys not having the other, just complete opposite off seasons when you look at both of these teams. We beat them the past 2 seasons. I do believe the Lions have our number this time. Week 6, Lions beat the Cowboys at AT&T Stadium. And there we go. I told you would not like the start of this season from my eyes and my prediction, because we go into the bye week, week 7, which would love for this bye week to be a little bit later. But you'll see after Thanksgiving, there's actually a little mini bye week in there that actually makes up for it. So this might actually be a good call, because at the moment, I have us at 2-4. I know. Just comment down below. Let it out. Yeah, I know. 2-4, right? But I'm sticking by my guns, guys. I just don't think this offseason has made this team better. I think the draft was good, but I think it takes a little bit for, the car to get running and the heater to get warm and, all of that. And that's what I'm seeing with this season so far. I think it's going to be a rough start. We're going to be trying to figure out things, all of that. So 2-4 start. I know, rough. So here we go. It gets rougher. Week 8. We go back to freaking San Francisco, man. Can we just, for the love of God, have this game back in Dallas? It's been since the COVID year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but since 2020, since the Cowboys have played the 49ers at AT&T Stadium. Regardless, I can already see the headlines. Cowboy players are going to be giving interviews all week and be like, we remember. We haven't forgotten. And it's going to be 28-0 at halftime. I have no confidence in this team. And if you are on the other side where you're optimistic and you're like, Kyle, wait, hold up. This team can do it. No. Just watch. This team does not have my confidence after what they did in that wild card game. And let alone they did not get better in the offseason. So no, I don't feel confident in this team. But I'm still here. And I'm unbiased and realistic. I don't trust this team. And, I don't trust the team that won 15, 16 straight home games, and then they lose one against the 7 seed against the Green Bay Packers when they shouldn't. So no, I don't trust this team. And I don't trust them to go to Levi Stadium. I don't trust them to go to Santa Clara. And I don't expect them to win a road game against the 49ers. No. So 49ers are going to beat the Cowboys once again. And please, and I'll talk about it come week 8 in October, don't make this our Super Bowl. Fans, don't say we want the 49ers, we want to beat San Francisco. Just stop. Just let this game be. This is not our Super Bowl. It's just a regular season game. Anyways, we lose that game. Now we're 2-5. Okay, we're 2-5. Slow start. I promise you, there's a happy ending to this video. We're 2-5. Are we actually going to be 2-5? I don't know. Maybe 3-4, right? Point is, there's a slow start in all of this. And I'm telling you, give this team some time. I can't believe I'm advocating for this team. But give this team time. They're young, but I think they can get it together. And I like Mike McCarthy. I got to be careful because I don't really love the culture he's established with being lax with the players, but I like the culture he's established with creating this team unit feeling that we've had the past couple years. So they're going to get it together. 2-5, but we go to week 9. We go to Atlanta. We take on the Falcons, Kirk Cousins, and possibly Michael Penix. And then obviously you have such a talented core over there, young core over there, Bijan Robinson, their running back over there. Regardless, I think we win this game. I know it's on the road, but it's inside. That helps. We win. We jump up to 3-5. Cowboys beat the Falcons. Now we got those dang Eagles. And usually if you watch my season prediction videos, I tell you guys that I like to split, especially when it comes to NFC East opponents. We split. I already told you Giants, we're going to sweep. Look, the Eagles are not good. I'm going to tell you once again. They made a lot of moves. They made, they're all flashy, making moves, making it seem like they're doing something when they're not doing something. They're like the student in, they're like the smart student in class where they write, like 10 pages for their essay when they only needed to write 5 pages. And then you read the 5 pages that it's not really that good. A lot of grammatical errors, all that kind of stuff. Point is, they're flashy. They made a lot of moves thinking that, hey, we're here, we're going to capitalize. No. They don't got a good quarterback in Jalen Hurts. You can't trust Saquon Barkley to be healthy. And once those two go down, who's going to throw the ball to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith? And their defense, losing Fletcher Cox, losing Jason Kelsey, they're probably going to start this season slow as well, trying to figure themselves out. And quote me on this, this will be Nick Sirianni's final year as the head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. And on top of that, they did bring in a good defensive coordinator in Vic Fangio, but they did not bring in a good offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore. So, again, I think this NFC East gives NFC South vibes in the sense that I don't think any team's going to really have a grip on this division as the season goes on. And, I'm going to say it. I think we sweep the Eagles. Even though the Cowboys, I've said what I've said about Dallas. I still will choose the better quarterback, the better defense, and the experience that comes along with that. So, yes, I will choose the Cowboys over the Eagles, especially in this home game in Week 10 at AT&T Stadium, which brings us to 4-5. Let's go to Week 11, and be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more Cowboys content. Week 11, baby. Look, I have a lot of exciting matchups, and we'll talk about it towards the end of the video. Week 11 has to be my favorite game on this schedule and gets me hyped. Battle of Texas, right? Houston, Dallas, Cowboys, Texans, Diggs versus Diggs, Micah versus CJ Stroud. This one's going to be a really fun game to watch and a great point of the season where we can measure ourselves, see where we are stacked, because I think the Texans are about to take off. I think the Texans are going to become one of the better teams here. And Monday night, right? Doesn't get any better. Another primetime game here. Now, unfortunately, I think out of everything that I said, I think those matchups really negate themselves. But I think the big thing here is DeMeco Ryans. DeMeco Ryans, obviously fantastic coach, used to be defensive coordinator in San Francisco, really just knows how to attack Dak Prescott in this offense. I haven't said it much, but I'm going to start saying it right now. Biggest question mark, and there's a few question marks when it comes to this Cowboys team, but what is this run game going to do? That was one of the biggest issues outside of linebacker last season that was never addressed. And I get like 2013, 2012 vibes of Julius Randle taking over after DeMarco Murray. Almost like the Cowboys are like, we're going to put a really good offensive line in front of you, and it doesn't matter who's running it. We're going to, run anyone behind it. I just don't know if the committee at running back is enough to get the job done. I don't know who that number one is, and you at least have to have an idea of who your number one will be. And unfortunately, I think the running back position will be what we thought of the linebacker position all season long last year. And if you want another one, the year before that, how we thought all about the cornerback defensive back room and how it needed to be improved and how we needed someone. Same way I think about the running back position. It's one of my biggest glaring issues here. Like that Zeke's back. I think he's great for the locker room. But outside of that, I don't know if he's going to give you that running game that you need outside of short yardage situations in the end zone, which I know he'll be very helpful. But, I think that's really going to put a lot of pressure on Dak Prescott in this offense to deliver in terms of the pass. Regardless, back to Week 11, I do believe the Texans are better than the Cowboys. think they are. I think they're a young, talented team, and they're better than the Cowboys. And I think it's going to be a hell of a game. I think it's going to be such a fun game. Monday night, going to come down to the final second. But yeah, I got the Houston Texans beating the Dallas Cowboys in the Battle of Texas on Monday Night Football. Cowboys dropped down to 4-6. Okay, so now we go to week 12, and this is where if you haven't clicked off already, you may click off right here, because I tell you guys, I like to split. Now, I think the Giants are going to get swept. I think we're going to sweep the Eagles. The Washington Commanders. Look, I'm not saying they're going to win the division. I'm not saying they're going to be, this incredible team, unstoppable. I'm not saying any of that. But there's something, listen to me, there's something about a youthful, new energy, and especially when a team wants to win for their head coach. I think what Washington has cooking in DC isn't, I don't want to say it's anything special, but there is finally a culture there that wasn't existent in prior years. And I think these players are going to play hard for DQ. So I'm going to tell you, I do believe we split with the Washington Commanders. I hate it, but I think we are. I think we're going to split with the Washington Commanders. The way I'm going to do it is I will give them the home game. And so if we're playing at FedEx, Washington will win that one. And when we play at AT&T Stadium, we will win that one. So that's how I'll decide the split. So here we are, week 12. I do believe we go on the road and we lose in Washington. Now, we won last year, but we did lose the year before. So it's not out of possibility. Now, I know Dak Prescott owns the city, the state of Maryland and the city of Washington, D.C., but there have been a couple of tough losses that Dak has suffered in Washington. So it would not be outside of, it wouldn't be outside of impossible. So anyways, I think the Cowboys lose to the Commanders. They drop down to 4-7. I know. Crazy. 4-7. We're going into week 13. This is Thanksgiving, and I have the Cowboys at 4-7. I know how crazy I sound, but this is what I see from this team. This is what I see. But hold up. If you've watched this video so far, I got something in store for you, because obviously I told you we're going to sweep the Giants. So boom, win on Thanksgiving. I can enjoy my Thanksgiving again. I love this matchup because I don't have to worry at all. I can enjoy the family. I can enjoy the kids, the wife, all of that, the food, because I know we're getting a win on Turkey Day. So there we go. 5-7, week 13. Now here's another one. Week 14, big matchup. Now, I already told you, the matchup against the Steelers, I feel, can go both ways. I would see the Cowboys totally dropping that game, but I could also see them totally winning because they are the better team than Pittsburgh. This goes along with that feeling. This game goes both ways. And I think when we look back at this season, we're going to look back at both these games. And these are two big games. And I'm talking about the Steelers and the Bengals. I mean, this season is really important when it comes down to the AFC North matchups. This is going to be a tough game. All depends on injuries. Who's there, who's not there. On our side of the ball and on their side of the ball. Week 14, Monday Night Football matchup, Cincinnati Bengals is at AT&T Stadium. The way I feel about this game, and you know what? I want to say so. I'm not going to lie. I really want this to be a win. I feel like this could be a win, but I just don't trust the Cowboys. I just don't trust them. Maybe if we got a playoff win, I would feel so much more optimistic. I don't know if that wild card blowout by the Packers is living rent-free in my head right now, but I just don't freaking trust this team, even in the regular season, even at home. So regardless, and I could see this going both ways. I would love to be wrong on this one. I could see it going both ways. But I do believe the Bengals beat the Cowboys on Monday night. Cowboys lose both Monday night matchups, and they go to 5-8 on the season. So yeah, week 15, we are going into these final games, and the Cowboys are 5-8. But good news, like I said, I don't expect this NFC East to be the NFC East, to be the NFC beast. I expect them to be the NFC least. I expect the Commanders to struggle. I expect the Eagles to struggle. The Giants will always struggle. So I think at this point, being 5-8, obviously it's not where we want to be, but I think this team learns and grows as a young core, and the defense clicks with Zimmer's system, and the offense finds its running game, whether it's with one of them on the team right now, or if they pick someone up, trade for someone. I don't know. I just feel like things finally click and this team gets better as the season goes on. Unfortunately, we will be playing catch up towards the end of the season, but here we go. I do believe the Cowboys get some momentum here. 5-8. They go to week 15. They go to Carolina. Panthers are going to be a lot better than they were, but Cowboys will win this game. They'll take down the Panthers to move in 6-8. Week 16, we move on to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Really weird part about this game, it's Sunday Night Football. The weirdest matchup for a Sunday Night Football matchup. I mean, why aren't we giving it to the Eagles in next week? Anyway, regardless, I do believe the Cowboys are better than the Buccaneers. Cowboys will beat Tampa Bay, and this is at home as well. And so Cowboys win this game. 2-game winning streak. Here we go. 7-8. Now we're going into the final 2 weeks of football, and it is very vital, pivotal that the Cowboys win these last 2 games for any of their playoff hopes to be alive at this point. Luckily, they come against 2 NFC East opponents, and I think at this point, Cowboys control their destiny. So Cowboys take on the Eagles in Philly. We are the better team. We're riding a 2-game winning streak. I think we're better. Momentum's gelling. Chemistry's gelling. Cowboys sweep the Eagles. Week 17 in Philly. Cowboys beat the Eagles to move to 500 on the season at 8-8. Week 18, I told you, we already split. So if we would have lost the first matchup against the Commanders at FedEx Field, I got this home game for the Cowboys. Week 18, the Cowboys winning it, going 9-8. And the Cowboys would clinch a playoff spot with this win. That would be my prediction. So there we go. All right, we did it. And I'm going to take a drink here because I spoke a lot. But I told you, Cowboys will start off rough. It'll be tough. It'll be a pain. It'll be a headache. And it'll all be because this offseason's negligence and this front office. But Cowboys pick up some momentum to at least clinch the wild card spot, which, back to what I said earlier, I think that's a perfect situation. I hate the Cowboys being front runners. I really hate it more than anything. But when the Cowboys can be underdogs and kind of fly under the radar, those are the Cowboys I like. And I think ending the season 9-8, obviously you'd want to be better. But going into the playoffs with the chip on your shoulder, but ending the season on a 4-game winning streak, I like that. You know, call me crazy, but I kind of like a 9-8 season more than a 12-5 because I know how the 12-5 season ends because I've seen it 3 straight freaking years. But seeing an underdog Dallas Cowboys wildcard team 9-8, whoo, bring them on. Kind of reminds me of the year 2018 Dallas Cowboys. They beat the Seahawks at home, lost to the Los Angeles Rams in LA. But I really love that season. We started 3-5, but made our way. We ended this year, I believe it was 10-6, and I like watching that team. We had that big win against the Saints. So, anyways, I'm getting those kind of vibes from this team. It's not going to look pretty. And I don't think we're going to have that explosive an offense as we did last year, nor do I believe we're going to have as dominant as a defense as we did last year. I think what you're going to see here is less blowouts, close contested games. If you're a stressful Cowboys fan, and if you feel like the Cowboys give you stress, well, buckle in. I think this season's going to turn it all up to 200. TVs will be broken, but just don't kick the dog. Don't smack the kids. None of that. I think we are in for a wild ride of a season, but I think it's gonna pay its dividends because in my eyes, I still see this team winning the playoffs. It's not going to be the 12 wins that we're used to in the past 3 years, but 9-8 should squeeze us in as a wild card spot. And I got the home win. I have the home record 5-3. Last year we went 8-0. I have our away record going 4-5. Last year we were 4-5. I have our division record being 5-1. That's a little bit bold if you ask me, but I've predicted it. And I think if we're 5-1, and if we're 9-8, if we're 5-1 in the division, and if we're 9-8, and if everything comes to pass like I said it would with the NFC East struggling, I mean, 9-8 won the NFC South last year. Could it be that the Cowboys win the division at a 9-8 record? I don't know. It's all up to the Eagles, really. How bad do you want to be, and how much can their injuries, keep up during the season? Right now, I'm going to say I don't think the Cowboys repeat as NFC East champs, which would go along with, the tradition of no one being back-to-back winners in the NFC East since like 2002 or 2003. But I do believe we squeeze in as a wild card, which I'm totally fine with. Like I said, I want to see this team be underdogs going into the postseason rather than front runners. So, with that being said, 9-8, you're Dallas Cowboys. That's my prediction. And if you're wondering if this guy, Tony Goat Romo, has any idea what he's talking about, well, last year I predicted 13-4. They actually went 12-5. That damn Arizona game will always haunt me. And I did think we were going to be NFC East champs, and we were NFC East champs. Year before that, I said we were going to go 10-7. We went 12-5. I thought we were, did I say? I don't think, I did say we were going to be NFC East champs. We weren't. Year before that, I said we were going to be 11-6. We were 12-5. I said we were going to be NFC East champs. We were NFC East champs. So, I mean, there's a little bit of validity in there. Like, I know this team. I'm usually a game off or two. But to think that this team, I'm predicting 9-8, could be 10-7, could be 11-6, that's not far off. Because like I said, keep an eye on that Steelers game. Keep an eye on that Bengals game. And keep an eye on one of those Eagles games. Everything else I can sort of expect from the Cowboys, win and lose. But those three, that's going to tell whether or not you are a contender or you're sneaking into the playoffs. But like I said, games to watch, Dallas and Pittsburgh is high on my list. Cincy and Dallas. And man, that Houston and Dallas game is going to be so much fun. I cannot wait for that one. But other than that, what am I excited for most this year? And obviously we're going to be talking about it as the season inches closer. I'm really just excited to see our young players. Because like I said, I believe this team goes as far as these young players elevate their gameplay. I'm talking about Overshown, Bibe, Guyton, Tolbert, Ferguson. I'm really looking at all of those guys, and I know the front office is depending on these guys to either make leaps or continue that consistent play. It's going to be big. And I do believe we have the right coaching staff in place to get them to that next level. I may not agree with the 1-year deal with Zimmer, or I may not agree with not giving Mike McCarthy his extension, but I do believe we have enough in place right now to develop these guys and sort of get what we need out of them to have a successful season where we are in the postseason for the 4th straight year, obviously pending any injuries. Now, what am I worried most this year? Well, it's kind of everything that I mentioned. I don't think this is a recipe for success. And even before the offseason began and we saw all of that just happen, I just always had in the back of my mind, this was their championship window. The past 3 years that you saw them go 12-5 and lose to San Francisco twice and lose to Green Bay, that was the window. And we couldn't even get past it. I always saw this year as an implosion. I feel like the draft changed my idea of that a little bit because I like what they did in the draft. But defensively, I'm worried about Zimmer. I'm worried about how our guys will adapt to that type of coaching style, because this is not the 80s, the 90s anymore. I don't think these players respond. And I'm not just talking about our players, but I just think like this newer generation of players don't respond well to that hard-hitting, authoritative coach. I think Mike is a nice balance between those two. And Dan Quinn was just a guy who would get in the trenches with you, and our defense responded really well. So this Zimmer experiment could either work really well and our guys respond with discipline and they're even maybe a better defense in critical moments, or it completely falls flat and we just see an undisciplined just an awful defense. And that's what I'm worried about. And again, the run game, I still don't believe we have answers. 2 years ago, we had question marks about a defensive back room. That really killed us. Last year was linebacker. This year, it's running back, in my opinion. We don't have that one guy. I'm fine with not going after someone in free agency, but you had to draft someone. You had to draft a running back, and they didn't, and they fall back to Zeke. And it's just, I'm worried. But I do believe we have a better offensive line this year. So obviously a lot of question marks, but those are the things that I'm worried about. Other than that, that is it, man. Whew. These videos are long, but I love doing them. And I'm excited for season 4 with you guys. Year 4, I'm going to be here. Madden predictions will be back, man. Pre-game prediction videos, post-game reactions. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on TikTok, Twitter. Subscribe. We're going to be doing a lot more content. I'm going to go live throughout the week this upcoming season. So a lot planned, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And call me pessimistic, but I think I'm unbiased and realistic. And I got the Cowboys going 9-8, but I think it's enough to get into the postseason. Drop down below your predictions. What's the game you're most excited to see? Like I said, mine is the Battle of Texas. And which game are you most worried about? Because I'm probably worried about that Cowboys-Steelers game, because I think it's going to bite us in the rear end as the season goes on, just like that dang freaking Arizona Cardinals game last year. But other than that, love you guys. Thanks for watching. Like the video, share it, subscribe for more Cowboys content, and I will see you guys later. Go Cowboys!